Hi everyone, I'm Rick Beato. On today's Everything Music, it's What Makes This Song Great, episode 22. The band is Van Halen and the song is Runnin' with the Devil. It's coming up next. Runnin' with the Devil was the second single from Van Halen's self-titled record, Van Halen, which came out in early 1978. It actually happened to be the first track on the record, which is followed by its B-side, Eruption. I first heard of Van Halen right when the first single, You Really Got Me, came out, just before the first record was released. I thought it was a really interesting sound and a really cool take on the Kinks song. Then I bought the record, and the first thing I heard was this. That's actually some car horns of the band that were strung together with a couple batteries in a box, I believe, and then slowed down through manipulating the tape machine by Ted Templeman, who produced the record. It immediately sucks down into those short staccato bass notes. And then you hit that string tree, which is at the top of the guitar. Eddie is going across the strings just past the nut. That's what that sound is. So this tune is the first original. You Really Got Me was the first single, but this is actually the first original single off the record, and it was released second. I really could have picked any song off the first record. I pretty much could have picked any song off the first four records because they all have the same elements that make Van Halen, especially the David Lee Roth Van Halen songs, great. They have the Eddie Van Halen incredible rhythm and lead playing, powerful mid-rangey Marshall sound with the echo on it and the reverb and pan to one side. You've got the David Lee Roth screams and just outrageous vocals. You have the Alex Van Halen super heavy drumming with the snare that sounds like a tom. You have Michael Anthony's simple but right in the pocket bass parts, and then the two-part harmonies that Michael and Eddie do. Those are the elements that make Van Halen one of the most iconic rock bands of all time. Before we begin, I'd like to talk a little bit about what I'm using in this video, gear-wise. As far as the guitar is concerned, I don't have a Franken-Strat that Eddie used on the first record, the black and white Strat. As a matter of fact, there's a really great video on YouTube where Eddie talks about how he built the guitar and what the parts cost and how only the bridge pickup is hooked up. He said that he wanted to cross-pollinate a Gibson Les Paul with a Strat.
Cross-pollinate a Gibson with a Fender. The body cost me $50 and the neck cost me $80.
But what I do have is I have a hand-wired Marshall Plexi here that's been modded with the Jose Hernando mod that gives it that really gainy Van Halen sound. The effects that Eddie used at the time that you are familiar with are things like the Phase 90 MXR phase shifter. That is actually a modded one. Van Halen also used, I have it down here, a flanger. He didn't use it for this song, but an old MXR flanger that you can hear on a lot of the early records. He used an Echoplex for echo. On this tune, he's not using it in the rhythm part, but he's using it in the solo along with the Phase 90, I believe. Then there's the plate reverb that they did afterwards in the control room. Now, one of the things about Eddie's sound that has to do with the reverb, when people are trying to get his sound, they don't take into account the fact that things were done after the amp. For example, brightening the sound after it came off tape with the EQ on the console, which happens all the time, and the panned reverb. So the thing about Van Halen's first record is that there's always just one rhythm part, and the reverb is hard panned on the other side. Let me play you the sound that I have here. Now, when you hear that, a lot of people play this part wrong. They play this. I've seen this a lot, actually, where it's... Then they play... They do a sus chord. It's actually... So you've got... Now, I'm tuned down to E flat, but if you're thinking in standard tuning, you go C to D, then you go D, G, A, E. With a slide. This production technique of having an instrument hard panned on one side and having the reverb on the other side is something that was used a lot in the 70s. You can hear it on everything from Stairway to Heaven. When Jimmy Page's acoustic guitar comes in on the, I think it's the left side, you hear the reverb on the right side. And then the recorders that John Paul Jones plays come in the right speaker and the reverb is on the left. This was a way to create a pad effect and make the record sound like it's in stereo. It's used on all of the Van Halen 1 record. And this tune, when it gets to the solo, that's the only time that there's actually a backing part. You'll hear the guitar solo will be in the other speaker, but the rhythm will remain in the right speaker. So there's just a solo part, rhythm guitar, the bass is up the center along with the vocals, and then the drums are panned in stereo. I want to next play the bass sound by itself because this is really important. You guys all know what this song sounds like. I don't have to play it to you. There's so few elements, but I think it's important to hear what the solo instruments sound like because the production of this record was really unusual, and it's part of what makes the song great. You can't divorce the sounds from the band and the song. They are all part of the same thing. And Van Halen has such a unique sound. So here's Michael Anthony's bass part. What I love about it is the distortion on the bass, the tightness of it. It's so perfectly played. And you can hear the guitar bleeding into the mic because they're playing it together. Anybody that says Michael Anthony, oh, he's not a great bass player. Michael Anthony was an amazing bass player. It's incredibly difficult to play short, perfect length bass notes like that without rushing. This is all done on tape, obviously. And a huge part of what makes Van Halen great is their feel. Eddie's time is amazing. His rhythm playing, you hear people talk about Eddie's rhythm playing. It's really unparalleled. His lead playing, nobody was doing anything like that when he first came out. I mean, that was really unparalleled. But really, his rhythm playing is just incredibly great. And Alex is a super solid drummer. So let's listen to the drums by themselves here. Here's the drums. Now, this is not done to a grid at all, and I want you to listen when he goes dun, dun, dun. The dynamic on that and the feel is incredible. Listen. It's so hard to lay those in right in the right spot. The feel is amazing. Check out the bass and drums together. This is a rhythm section. Oh. The slides, everything. There's no gridding of this. There's no Pro Tools. They're not going in and cutting up little things and putting it on a artificial grid. These are people that can play with feel and have incredibly good time. And then you put in the guitar along with it, and you got this. Now Eddie, those upbeats, he's really pushing, and the drums and bass are just laying back, and that's all played together for sure. I mean, that is so tight. You can hear the bleeding of the guitar and the drum mics. You can hear the bleeding of the guitar and the bass mics. That's definitely a bass amplifier right there. That's where you're getting that distortion, and it's really perfect distortion from a producer's point of view. Ted Templeman was an amazingly good producer. This is a really uniquely great sounding record. And you have to give the credit to Eddie because his sound was unlike anything that had been heard before. Next, I'd like to move to the vocals. Check out Dave's scream right here in the intro before the first verse.
Yeah, yeah.
He's tapping his foot, you can hear it, and he does a little snap right after the first scream.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you get into the verse.
I live my life like there's no tomorrow, and all I've got I had to steal.
Dave has a really cool vibrato. He's got really good pitch. You know, people will rag on Dave sometimes because of some of the live videos that you've seen, but Dave was a really great singer back in the day. Without Dave, there's no Van Halen. You got to have the guitar and you got to have the vocals that make it happen. Next, I want to talk about the verse guitar part. So after Eddie comes out of the intro, he just turns his volume down to get into this. This is all part of a live take. He's simply going. Which is a really great riff. Check it out. Second time through. Goes to E. And then we're back to. So in the verse, he's playing open A with the 5th fret of the D and 4th fret of the G string. And he's playing thirds. And that's the 2nd fret. That's no 2nd fret of the D string in open G. And then so he's playing the 12th fret, 7th fret, and then the B and G string there at the 5th fret. The second verse is similar. Check it out. Except you have the hammer on there from the 7th and 9th. Then it continues on. Great dynamics. And back into the chorus. So the melody and harmonic progression of the verse is really a mixolydian. The bass is simply playing A. It's really A flat. But just for ease of thinking about it, just think A mixolydian. He's going from the A, puts in that A over G, right? But it's then the vocals. There's the whole verse is mixolydian. Even when he goes that E minor chord, because really the progression of the verse is a mixolydian melody, and then the chorus goes to an E pedal. So you have an A pedal in the verse, and then so all those chords are over this E flat or E, right? And it's think about it. So you're going the C over E, D over E, so it's like a first inversion major chord to a dominant 11, and then you get to an E minor 7. Then you have A over E. Then you have E major. So you're kind of going from E minor to E minor to E dominant to E minor to A major to E major. It's all modal. The verse is modal. And the chorus. So Runnin' with the Devil is a modal tune completely, start to finish. So the other thing that is characteristic with any Van Halen song, as soon as you hear the harmony parts in the chorus, you know it's Van Halen. You hear that Michael Anthony super high part, and Eddie is usually below him with a third below. In this tune, this is really interesting. If you hear this, since you have these modal chords going, you have that on the E chord. It's E flat, okay, but I'm just saying for sake of ease. And it's in thirds. Those are the harmony parts. And when they end up on that perfect fourth, they go a major third to a perfect fourth. And that fourth is really, it really rings because it's really on this chord here, but it becomes... And on this chord, when that's happening, the vocals are singing this. So you're getting this chord. And it goes. Listen to it. It's actually really, it goes by so fast, but it's very modern. You hear that's like C Lydian or B Lydian over E to that D sus2, but they have the major in there, so it's D add 9. But you have that. Listen to it.
Running with the devil.
Listen. That's the Van Halen sound right there. It's that simple. Except you have to have guys that can sing that well. And Michael Anthony's voice is amazing on those high harmonies. Moving on to the guitar solo, because that's the next big part of this. It happens 2 times. And here's the first time. So you have the... you have the rhythm guitar and the left speaker playing this. And then the lead is in the other speaker playing this. Let me play along with it. So he's simply just playing out of these 2 chord shapes. You got this A sus, it's really A flat sus. Right out of that chord shape. Those 2 chord shapes. Then it goes back to the chorus. And then one more time around the solo. And those catches on the cymbal. And the cool thing about the ending is what goes on in the drums here, because after he does the cymbal catches every time, it's a real nice change in the drums. He does that. He's check it out. and then the last catches with a triplet fill at the end. That's all for now. Please subscribe here to my Everything Music YouTube channel. If you're interested in the new Beato Book 2.0, go to my website at www.rickbeato.com. Also, we have merch. I've got t-shirts and mugs for sale on my website. Go check them out. Thanks for watching.